Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Speculating Disney Parks. I'm the nostalgic Disney fan, Sam, and with me, as always, is the new age Disney fan, Porter.
Howdy.
This week, we're going to be uh, heading up a very popular, well, one of these lands is a very popular area of Hollywood studios. We're going to be speculating Animation Courtyard and Sunset Boulevard and how they're going to be doing through the next 10 years. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. You should, oh, I got to hit share first. Okay, you should see a map of Hollywood studios.
I see it.
Awesome. So first on this list, we'll start with Animation Courtyard and we'll save the best for last with Sunset Boulevard. This is such a this is such an area. This is an area that needs so much help. And I saw in TPM vids that they had the like controversial Disney takes or something like that, and they said that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway would have been perfect for Animation Courtyard. And I agree so much. It could have revived that area, but no, you had to take away a classic.
Yep.
But first on this list is going to be Walt Disney Presents. I think this is safe because it's one of those that I don't really know what you'd replace it with, and it's over the history of the guy who started it all. So I don't really think that's going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm not sold on this entire area of Hollywood studios. Um, I could potentially see this getting some work done at the latter part of a 10-year period.
Hmm.
Kind of like a in an effort to give another expansion to Hollywood studios. You know how popular of a park it is. I think it's very realistic to expect in a 10-year time period that they might announce something to replace Animation Courtyard with, which would include this Walt Disney Presents attraction.
Yeah, I'd be curious to like what other movie they could possibly add in. Watch them try to replicate Cars Land. No way would they do that, but
Right. Well, I wonder if it would be either an expansion of Toy Story Land or a an offshoot of Sunset Boulevard if they were to turn kind of the rock and roller coaster area into a different land, so to speak.
yeah, that I guess looking at the map here, you could cut it off and turn it into something. Of course, there's all these buildings over here, but yeah, that's I don't know. That would be kind of interesting if they connected that somehow.
I would think if the Walt Disney Company is ever able to build Marvel attractions in Florida, is that can that ever be a thing?
The only one that they've done so far is Guardians of the Galaxy, but
I wonder what like because I know there's some contract out there that gives Walt Disney or Universal Company exclusive on that on the Marvel license, I guess.
huh. So according to Disney Food Blog, the original Universal contract states that other companies, including Disney, cannot use any Marvel characters currently used in Universal theme parks east of the Mississippi River. In other words, Disney World is legally not allowed to bring Marvel to Disney World.
Yeah, but I feel like that's got to have a expiration date.
They own the rights to Spider-Man, the Avengers, X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. Maybe that's why Phase 4 they're trying to come up with all these different heroes because they're just like, all right, what can we put in the parks that Universal doesn't own?
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, I feel like short of opening another park, you know, like Marvel Park, uh, Hollywood Studios would make the most sense. And I think this area
Hmm.
between Toy Story Land and Sunset Boulevard, replacing what's currently in Animation Courtyard would make a good space for their
Hmm,
Marvel IP.
a very interesting take. I would have thought of that
Well,
expanding into something else, but yeah,
I'm
it's
full
I
of
get
interesting takes.
so so next, this one was cool, but Star Wars Launch Bay.
Yeah, with we met Darth Vader there, didn't we?
That
That's where we
was
did
so cool. What do you
the Darth
think this
Vader
one's
meet.
safe or not safe?
Yeah, I don't think it's safe either.
I agree with you on that. This Star Wars in Hollywood studios almost kind of feels like, like you're starting to wonder with, like, Launch Bay on one end of the park and then Star Tours on one end of the park, and just beyond that is Galaxy's Edge. It feels like the Animal Kingdom campaign when they're like, Animal Kingdom is many things, but it's not a zoo.
Yeah,
And it's just like, this almost feels like the same thing. Like, well, it is a little bit of a zoo, but like, is this a Star Wars park now? But fun attraction. Go meet Darth Vader if you haven't. It's really cool, but I agree with you, not safe.
yeah. I think well,
I guess
my OCD brain is saying condense the Star Wars stuff into Galaxy's Edge and make that
hmm,
the exclusive place to find like all of the Star Wars stuff in Hollywood studios.
yeah.
But so I wonder how OCD Bob Iger is.
I don't know.
Like,
I guess the only
would
reason
that be
why they
one of
would
his
have this
goals?
over here, especially meeting Darth Vader. I mean, you could meet Chewbacca and BB-8 in Galaxy's Edge, but I guess Darth Vader they might have outside because it's set to be all sequel stuff.
Right, right.
So maybe that's why they have the Darth Vader meet and greet separate.
That's true. Yep.
I don't know. The sequel characters aren't really as popular though as Darth Vader, but anyways,
Yeah. Well, now you've got the Mandalorian wandering the Galaxy's Edge, so
I wish I
that's
could
what
have
everyone
gone up
wants to
to.
see now.
I don't really know that I like the whole wondering. We'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh Next, Disney Junior Play and Dance. I think this is safe because I remember going to this when I was a little kid, and I mean it was a lot of fun, but it's just a place for kids to, kids absolutely love it. It's a break in the AC. They can burn energy while the parents relax. So I think it's based off of like stuff. Oh yeah, Disney Junior or
Yeah.
Playhouse Disney back when we were kids. So I think that's going to be safe for the next 10 years.
Yeah. I'm going to say this one's not safe, just again with my prediction for this area.
Mm,
Um, but I do like the concept and idea of it being here. Again, like you said, giving parents a place to maybe relax in air conditioning or just watch their kids, have a good time with the characters or whatever.
right.
I've personally never been inside it. Probably won't ever go inside it.
Well, if you ever take your nephews to Disney
Oh,
World,
there we go. Right, right.
now you can experience it. If you're going by yourself, it might be a little weird.
Yeah, I've got a couple nephews and a niece that are young,
There you go.
so yeah, maybe we can take them to Disney World at some point.
Hell yeah. All right. Next, one other thing that I think this attraction, I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with it. I am never going to get this right. Voyage of the Little Mermaid is the Magic Kingdom ride, correct?
I think so. I think that's what it's called.
I better.
Double check.
Voyage of the Dawn Treader. The Narnia. Did you know about the Narnia ride that used walk through attraction that used to be here?
Yeah, you told me about it with the
Dude,
where you walk through the wardrobe and
for everybody listening who did not experience this was the absolute worst attraction I've ever seen at Disney. You walk in, you see like this trailer for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or maybe it's like a recap, and they have the white witch walk out, and she does the whole "if it's a war Aslan wants, it's a war he shall get." She does that little spiel from the movie. She leaves. You walk through, and the trailer's still playing. You look at artifacts. This is Indiana Jones. You look at props and costumes from the movie, and then you walk out and you're done. And it's like, this is the Narnia experience. Like, it was, I don't know how long it lasted, but I'm so glad it's not there anymore, because it's like Disney could have done some cool stuff with Narnia, and that's what they gave us. Like, I guess it fits the whole Hollywood Studios thing where it's like behind the scenes of a movie, but I don't know. I felt like they hyped it up to be something that could have been better.
Yeah.
I don't know if other people agree with me, but I know that other people I've talked to went through that little experience, did not enjoy it.
Yeah,
So Under the Sea.
I watched a YouTube video
Oh, did
on
you?
it, and yeah, it didn't look impressive. I honestly wouldn't know if anybody's missing that ride right
So Voyage of the Little Mermaid. Okay. Yeah, Journey of the Little Mermaid is the Magic Kingdom ride. Voyage of the Little Mermaid is where this Ariel statue is. It's kind of a fun little show, similar to, I mean, not as long as Beauty and the Beast live on stage.
now.
But I'm curious how much longer it's going to last, because Ursula she's a puppet. She's not an animatronic or anything like that, which I guess makes sense. But Disney hasn't done anything with it for a long time, and it's like, do you think they may update it for the live action, or are they just going to do something else with it? Because I mean, I know Little Mermaid is like Ariel's a super popular character, but I don't know how much. I don't know if this show will ever return.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
And we'll see. I have a feeling it's going to be gone soon, but we'll see what Bob Iger has in store for it.
Exactly.
So going down, what's a lot of people's favorite area of Hollywood studios, Sunset Boulevard. First on the list.
Indeed.
Ooh, this is a big hot topic. Rock and Roller Coaster, starring
baby.
Aerosmith. Porter, I'll let you start this one off.
Oof. Put me in a position here.
If you want, we can work the opposite way on the list and end with Rock and Roller Coaster, because this is one that I think we're going to spend a lot of time talking about.
Yeah, let's end with it.
Okay. Beauty and the Beast live on stage.
Oh, good gravy. Please get rid of this.
Did you know that this debuted before the movie did? So it was like a preview of Beauty and the Beast that was going to be in theaters soon.
Ugh.
Very similar to how It's Tough to Be a Bug was before Bug's Life. But carry on.
Yeah, you just you get there, you sit there. They have these bleachers that you sit on.
Those bleachers are uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's literal bleachers like you might sit at a high school football stadium. And then it's, what is it, 25 minutes retelling of the story, and it goes by way too quick. They kind of sing shortened versions of the songs, and it just feels weird to me. I don't know. Do you get the same feeling?
I haven't been on this in at least 10 years, so I need to see it again to have a more up-to-date opinion on how weird it feels. But like, I know that those shows, like, I mean, Beauty and the Beast is a lot of great music, but I'm gonna agree with you. I don't really think that this is gonna be safe, because they might replace it with something soon.
I hope so. I feel like if it were indoors, this would be a lot better, because at least the mood would be darker, and they'd be able to play with the lighting a bit more. But
so if they were in a theater like Fantasmic or Muppet Vision 3D,
yeah, I think that would work a lot better.
I agree on that. I certainly agree with that.
Maybe I need to watch it at nighttime if they do night performances. See if that makes it any better.
Oh, I thought there was a schedule in here. Maybe there wasn't. I know they have a schedule like on the marquee or something outside.
Yeah.
Next, Phantasmic.
Oh,
I
safe.
think this is pretty safe. This is a pretty fun show. Great way to end the day. I haven't stayed for it for a long time because I don't know, I'm either really tired or I got sick on Star Tours.
Yeah, I mean, it, I think it's a fan favorite, and they don't really need to touch it. Um, I could maybe see them at some point replacing it with something a bit more like that utilizes different technology. But
Hmm.
maybe they'd keep the name. It'd always be Fantasmic, just an updated show.
I would love if they included drones, but I'm biased. But anyways, um, yeah, I think they did update the show. They might have removed Pocahontas. That or it could have been a rumor I saw, but
Mm,
yeah, it's one of those shows that like you can always update it for popular characters that are here and there and everything.
right, right.
So yeah, this is definitely safe. All right, this next one's gonna be really tough. Tower of Terror.
Wow, I wonder
This
the
is safe.
park icon. Oh
I think
yeah.
that I'll go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like, you know, I feel like they could do more with this area even, like
Hmm.
people love coming to Tower of Terror and uh, I know they're doing that new holiday. There's a new holiday special coming to Hollywood Studios. I think is it called
Jollywood.
Jollywood? Jollywood Nights? Is that what it is? I think so. Jollywood Nights. And there's something going
Yep.
on at the Tower of Terror area. So that would be cool. That would be cool to see. But yeah, I mean, Disney keep doing stuff with this. It's people love the Twilight Zone. People love this ride. It's a classic take on the drop ride. Or not a classic take, an original take on the drop ride. Just perfection.
The one thing that would be kind of cool, and if you disagree, then say so, but I almost feel like it'd be cool if they had like a restaurant or something nearby. Like I know it's supposed to be abandoned, and I know that the Sunset Ranch market is nearby, but I don't know. It would be kind of interesting if they had like I don't know some people who are trying to something like like they were pretending to be like an Airbnb or something. Like we've come in and we've taken over. Like you know what I'm saying? Like the waiters are always talking about how they always run into all these haunts and everything. And like they talk
Yeah.
about of course I'm sort of describing Haunted Mansion a little bit, but I don't know, just something
No,
that I think would be interesting. There was some Airbnb stuff in the new Haunted Mansion movie, not in the mansion itself, but in other locations. By the way, Haunted Mansion was really good. Y'all need to go see it. But anyways,
honestly, like Tower of Terror, like adjacent table service restaurant would be amazing. Kind of like what you were saying, like a couple purchases like the ground floor of the Hollywood Tower Hotel,
hmm.
and yeah, like you said, turns it into just like a little B&B, and there's a restaurant, that you eat at. That would be awesome. Disney, take notes.
And like they act all spooky and paranoid, kind of like the bellhops do in the Tower of Terror. Like how when they close the door and they say,
Yeah,
"If you need anything, just scream."
exactly.
Like stuff like that would just make it so much fun. And the engagement photos they did there were pretty cool too.
Yeah, agreed,
We
agreed.
got to go and it was Porter and my sister Taylor, not Porter and I. They no, they did their engagement photos there, and we got to since I paid for it, I went along. We got to see some cool areas that most people don't get to go to.
Yeah, they took us up to this really nice balcony up on the the tower terror. Um, and yeah, we took some pictures against the plants and with the railing and everything, and yeah, they turned out really nice.
That was definitely a cool experience.
Very cool experience.
So next is Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. I've never done this. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's just like a is it like a turtle talk with crush type thing?
I don't know. We're gonna Google it right now. I just wonder if one of those shows, like it's like a 10-minute show where he just.
Right, it says 10 minutes. Yeah.
So I know Turtle Talk with Crush is like what, 30 minutes?
Is it?
I think I'd have to look at the map again, but
Okay.
the show takes place after the events of Car 3.
Wow. Does he open a racing academy at the end of Cars 3?
Yeah. Lightning McQueen retired. Oh wow, there's like an animatronic Lightning McQueen and everything.
Have you seen all the Cars movies?
I have.
I have yet to see Cars 3.
It's better than Cars 2.
Cars 2
Those,
wasn't bad,
eh,
but
yeah, it was all
it
right, but
it had its moments. But yeah, it wasn't as impressive as it could have been, I feel
so yeah, it's actually the show actually does look pretty impressive, but like looking at it, like I'm not gonna watch the video because I'm gonna experience it in person. But I mean, based on the pictures I'm seeing, it actually does look pretty cool. Like it might be worth checking out.
like. Yeah, maybe.
All right,
Just
now
compare
for
it to what's at Disneyland and the Radiator Springs area.
oh yeah, that I've heard a lot of people say that's like the best area, and uh oh, what's the one? Not California Adventure anymore. Or no, is it?
Yeah, it's still called
Oh,
California
okay.
Adventure.
Okay. That's they got rid of the California stuff. That's why I thought it was changed.
California, California.
All right, now to come back to the the elephant in the room when it comes to Disney rides that probably are not going to survive.
Rock and
So
Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. So we put together a little fun exercise for this one.
we were discussing this on the way home from Disney in March. And I know a lot of people out there, there's probably a lot of you out there that are like, oh my God, replace it with Powerline. And some of you are probably going to hate me for this, but I think that is a bad idea because he literally has two songs. And it's not the same as like when you're on Rock and Roller Coaster, you don't know what song you're going to get. And also, it's fun with Aerosmith because most people know who Aerosmith are. Most people outside of Disney fans and don't really know who Powerline is. Don't get me wrong, Stand Out and Eye to Eye are super fun songs, but I just don't see that working. But we could incorporate Powerline into our idea, which is drop the Aerosmith name, keep some Aerosmith songs, and just call it the Rock and Roller Coaster, and just have a playlist of songs that you could play during the ride, similar to Star Tours, how you don't know what adventure you're going to get.
Yeah, you just don't know what song you're gonna
Exactly. What are some of the songs that you came up with, Porter? And we're looking for some of the songs that I was thinking of. I mean, I have on my list are like arena rock or stadium rock. I know I saw some people suggest some really weird ones on Facebook, but
That's what Taylor and I were. That's what Taylor said when she and I were discussing this. She said this is essentially a playlist of songs that you'd hear at a football game. I was like, actually,
I don't know if you hear Sweet Caroline on this ride, but that would be kind
yeah,
of fun.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I my some of my songs that we picked out were first one. This one is a bit of an honorable mention, but Roller Coaster of Love. It's not so much a rock song as it is a disco song, but I think it just fits. And I wouldn't start out with this song, but if at some point during the ride it came on, I think it would be fun.
Who did that song originally?
Ooh, let's look it up. That's the only one that I didn't.
I'll look it up if you want to. It's read by. There's Love Roller Coaster by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Love Roller Coaster is a song by the band Ohio Players.
The Funky Groove Connection.
Okay, so I could see some funky music on there.
Yeah.
Funk.
Anyway, now I'm into like the rock songs. Call Me by Blondie. Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses.
I got that one on my list too.
Heartbreaker by Pat Benatar.
That's a good one.
You Give Love a Bad Name by Bon Jovi.
Also got that on my list.
Yeah, and that's what I came up with.
I've got a few others here. I've got one that would be good to start is Paradise City by Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
You've got Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. And I think the absolute best song for this ride would be Raise Your Hands by Bon Jovi. If you've seen Spaceballs when they introduce the Winnebago, they're playing Raise Your Hands when that song starts. But it's perfect for a roller coaster because you want to raise your hands.
Right. No, exactly.
And then this one may or may not fly over well with families, but Kickstart My Heart and Dr. Feel Good by Motley Crue. Although I will say, if you have a problem with Motley Crue, listen to the lyrics of some of those Aerosmith songs like Walk This Way and Love in an Elevator. Not the best lyrics for a family theme park, but you're not really paying attention to the lyrics when you're going 0 to 60 in 2 seconds and screaming your head off.
Exactly.
Kids don't pick up on that. But that's what we've just kind of discussed as the best option for this ride because I think Aerosmith signed a deal with Universal, so it's hard to tell what's going to happen with Disney and the relationship between Disney and Aerosmith.
Yeah, yeah, and I would be up for this ride getting an upgrade, to be honest.
I know that the one scene, the studio scene, seems a little old, but Aerosmith is one of my favorite rock groups, so I love it anyway. But
yeah, no, it's got a neat pre-show, but I feel like the attraction itself is kind of just like it's a little day glowy,
mm-hmm.
And like it's kind of like the Winnie the Pooh ride, like it feels like they spray painted Dayglow paint on some plywood and cut it into shapes, you know.
Yeah,
and that's but you're zooming past it, so
you go by it
I
pretty
feel like
fast. So you don't want the Navi animatronic from Rivers of Light.
Oh, right, exactly. But it is a really fun coaster. I like the track itself. I just think the surroundings as you're going through it could maybe use a bit of a visual upgrade.
And this, kids, is what Woodstock was like. Oh, Jimi Hendrix, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Let Me Stand Next to Your Fire. That's another great song. So the one other idea I've seen, I guess the guy who did Muppets Mayhem on Disney Plus, he said he pitched a Muppets Mayhem overlay for the Rock and Roller Coaster. I don't know what songs they'd use, but I still think it would be great. Maybe they mix the two. They have traditional rock and roll, but it's hosted by Electric Mayhem.
Yeah, exactly.
And I still love the idea of you're sitting there waiting to launch, and Animal is overhead, and he's just hitting buttons, and then he realizes he's going to send you off, and he just looks up and goes, "Uh-oh," and then you just take off, and then you have Electric Mayhem. Maybe that's your animatronic or something.
Yeah. No, I like the idea of having an animal up in like a window above, that tunnel that you go through.
Exactly.
Just being like just smacking buttons with his
just
hand,
doing animal things.
Yeah, exactly. No, that would be perfect Muppet incorporation.
The one idea that we were talking about last week with the Muppets, because we were talking about whether or not Grand Avenue is going to survive and the state of Muppet Vision 3D. What do you think about the idea of, let's say, Grand Avenue is going to get scrapped, it's going to get turned into something else, and they do a Muppet overlay of the Rock and Roller Coaster? Do you think Disney would find a way to move Muppet Vision 3D? Relocating it would be annoying, but do you think they would possibly move it into Sunset Boulevard because it's such a beloved attraction and one of Jim Henson's last works?
Yeah, I struggle with that just because I feel like Disney doesn't relocate attractions. Like,
Hmm.
have they really ever done that?
I want to say I think they updated the entrance to an attraction because I don't remember Toy Story Mania being over here. I could be wrong, but
No, yeah, they just added another entrance to it, but I don't think they've ever like taken a ride and then moved it to another part of the park. It
now
would
you
it would
mention it,
be
I don't think they have.
yeah, it would be unprecedented, which is why it gives me a little bit of pause.
Hmm.
That being said, I think it would be a great idea. I mean, didn't the Muppets movie take place in like LA or in Hollywood,
Yeah,
right? So, it kind of fits there. Uh, but I mean, I don't know if they'd move Muppet Vision 3D over to that area.
I'm just looking at a map here, trying to figure out.
you know,
Trying to remember when it. No, I remember that is when it opened.
no, they've still got the most possibility with Hollywood studios here. I think out of any of the other parks.
I gotta
Um,
pull up this image here because this is you're not gonna recognize Hollywood Studios just looking at this. Maybe oh okay. Well, that's a different file type. That was strange. Okay. Here we go.
dang.
Yeah, I know, right? This is where Galaxy's Edge is now. This is where Toy Story Land was built. This is where Toy Story Mania is.
Yeah, it's
Completely
certainly changed.
unrecognizable. But anyways,
Dang. I kind of like that. I almost prefer that view that they had on that map. Though. It was almost a lower point of view,
like
like a side view.
almost like you're coming in like yeah, like when you're like coming into land or something in an airplane
Yeah,
or something, that kind of view that you have,
exactly.
not like an
Instead of this
overhead
like
view.
bird's eye. Yeah,
Okay, I get what you're saying.
but I understand this gives you a better view of like the paths and the connections between places. I get
Yeah, I kind of see that. I see what you're talking about.
it.
All right, well, this has been fun. Oh, one more thing about the Tower of Terror. I forgot to bring this up earlier.
Oh
I
yeah,
know everybody was upset when Tower of Terror turned into Guardians of the Galaxy and California Adventure. I think that's definitely not going to happen here because Guardians of the Galaxy A is already in Epcot and B would not fit Golden Age of Hollywood.
yeah, and Guardians is on its way. I feel like down a little bit in popularity. So
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody loves Groot, but it's I don't expect it to. I don't know. We'll see how long its popularity holds.
yeah,
So this has been fun speculating. Stay if you'd like and join us as we count down our top five pre-shows in the Walt Disney World. Porter, would you like to start us off?
sure. So my number five is actually Flight of Passage, and despite
Oh,
despite that guy, I mean everyone knows what I'm talking about, the guy who's like, and you fly,
Are you talking
that
about the
part of the
guy in the
pre-show.
beginning who's like move around a little more, move around a little more, and it's
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
want to get on the ride.
right. Like it's a little annoying. However, barring that, I do think the pre-show experience is really cool and the story they tell and how you connect with the Ikran and some of the lights and the feeling of being in it. It's very, very immersive, just like the queue. So I really felt like just from that perspective, it needed to be on my top five.
Yeah,
But for
I
the
thought
record,
like
I
everything
can't
Flight of
stand that
Passage was number one, but my number five is one that we talked about, which is the Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. I've always enjoyed going in there. It's I love rock and roll, and Aerosmith is probably my favorite rock. Them or Queen, my favorite rock group. And yeah, it's fun when the band is getting you all hyped up and everything, and they're like, like just I've heard people get interactive with it, which can be a little annoying, but this is one that I always enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is a good one. It's not on my list, but maybe I'll give it an honorable mention. My number four is Tower of Terror.
Same.
Hey, really? Nice. Yeah, I think they just did such a good job with making it feel like a Twilight Zone episode. And, you get kind of crammed into that like little what do they call it? Like
I
the
forget
room
which
that they
room it
put you in.
is.
Is it like a library or a sitting room or something? I'm not sure. Maybe an office space. It's a very cool space though, and a great area to watch on that tiny TV screen. Um, Very claustrophobic, before you go into the maintenance tunnels. Um, so that's why it's my number four. Any other reasons you'd like to add?
I don't think there's a ride that builds up suspense better than Tower of Terror. Like, you
Absolutely
have
not.
the stuff that like this, like I remember Stitch's Great Escape well, that one really wouldn't build up suspense, but like Haunted Mansion, it does, but Tower of Terror, in my opinion, just tells the story just a little bit better just because I don't know, just because like it's based on the show that told great stories and everything. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think this is one that like, when the room goes dark and it you're already nervous because you see the tower dropping outside, people screaming their heads off, and this really gets you going.
yeah.
And it really like
Exactly.
summarizes why that hotel is in the state that it's in.
Yeah, because you can't survive without being buckled
Exactly.
into the elevator. My number three then, and this one might be on your list somewhere. Favorite pre-show is Muppet Vision 3D. I freaking love that.
That's an honorable
That
mention for me. I thought about it, but nope.
Oh really? Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I think that pre-show is like just as funny as the show itself. I always like sticking around to watch the entire thing, just because it just puts me in a good mood. It's so funny and silly, and just it's like its own show for me. You know?
I love the one of the lines that's so funny. It was when Fozzie has the 3Ds come in to perform a musical number. I'm Diane. I'm Debbie. And I'm Max. So and so was sick, so the union sent me. It's just so. Like as a kid, I didn't understand it. As an adult, I'm like, that's just so goofy, but so funny.
Exactly. And when they dress Rizzo in the Mickey Mouse costume,
Yeah.
like, oh
They're
my gosh.
tourists. What do they know?
It's just so perfect. So yeah, that's why it's my number three. Just very well written and funny.
That's like one of my favorite Sam Eagle quotes is cutting or like stopping in the middle is extremely unpatriotic.
Exactly. Oh
So
man.
my number three, and this probably that's probably higher up on most people's list. Haunted Mansion.
Mm,
I
number
love
two.
that. Okay. Okay, so this will be a good segue then. I love the build up for this because like Tower of Terror, it builds up the suspense. It, kind of the mystery of what happened is kind of sets the stage for what's about to happen. But
Yeah,
it's not a roller coaster, so it's still kind of lighthearted, but it's terrifying as well. Definitely more terrifying than Tower of Terror, because it's impossible to go on that ride and not hear a whole bunch of kids screaming in the stretching room.
yeah. When it goes dark,
And then it's also there's Disney fans that have to quote the whole thing.
oh yeah, my gosh, don't be that person if
Yeah,
you quote
that's
the stretching room
quote that in your hotel
just
room or
or up
on the
in your head
bus or something.
or whisper it into your hand.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I think it's an amazing pre-show again, just so well written, so creative with the stretching room and the illusion that there's no way out of this place, and even someone hanging in the rafters. Um, it just sets the tone so well for what's an amazing attraction too.
Iconic
So
attraction.
iconic attraction. So that's why it's at my number two.
My number two on this list is Cosmic Rewind.
Mm,
That blew me away. Just like when you
yep.
go in there and Terry Crews and the Guardians are going back and forth and like they beam you up and you turn around and you're in space. I'm like, I was not expecting this. Like that was incredible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I was still nervous because I knew the ride was gonna spin and I didn't know how I was gonna handle it, but it was still just like the way it built up everything. It was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool too. It didn't make my list just because I feel like I need to experience it a couple more times just to see like, okay, is it really as cool as I thought it was the first time, or
Hmm.
was it just kind of like novelty because there's a bunch of people that I didn't realize like were cast in the for the ride.
Right. I was not
Uh,
expecting Terry Crews at all.
right, but it is a very very cool pre-show, and it will probably end up being one of my favorites at some point. But that'll take me to my number one, and honestly, I would be surprised if this wasn't your number one. Rise of the Resistance.
Same.
Yep. Okay. I mean, how do you beat that? That's
I
like,
don't think it's possible with two pre-shows.
yeah, impossible. If unless you're just not a Star Wars fan, which I would totally get.
I mean,
But
I
I
don't
mean,
get
even if
why
you're
you're not
not
a
a
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars fan,
Sorry.
no, no, no. I was just saying, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, you have to admit it's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, this ride enhanced my Star Wars fandom more than I thought it could. By the way, if you don't like Star Wars, I don't understand your opinion, but I will try to respect it. But anyways, no, that ride is no, I mean, there's nothing that can compare to it. It is like
Yeah,
it is one of those like if they had better merchandising for it, like they do Space Mountain and Haunted Mansion, that would honestly be a perfect ride. But we'll talk about that another time. But that pre-show, just like going in and Ray briefing you on a mission and everybody's running to the ship and getting captured by the First Order, like this is the stuff that us nerds dream about.
exactly,
And even
exactly.
if you're not a nerd, you're just like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Nah,
Like they really
it's epic.
they've outdone themselves this time.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that appreciate or remember.
Well, this has been a fun episode. Join us next week as we talk about Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, two of the newest areas of really all of Disney World.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, they're not going anywhere. But we're going to talk about what might be next for both of these areas. So stay tuned.
Been fun. We will see y'all next episode.